Recently, I sent my Ironman into the retirement home that is Corporeal Beast. We got started doing the spec down chicken method, and just as a quick explainer, that's when you drain all of the stats that Corp has, and essentially what it comes down to is Corp is now just a 2000 health chicken. It's not really going to do much damage to you, and you're going to be able to do a ton of damage to it. And while that is effective, it is very, very slow. We're getting about 5 to 6 kills per hour, which is not great, especially when you consider seeing a sigil is 1 in 585. On top of that, we were just using our POH as a means to restore our stats and spec energy. Well, today I introduce the games necklaces and the Narda teleport with the Desert Amulet 4. This is going to be a bit of a time save. Between now and the last episode, I did take the time to make some of these games necklaces. I have about 100 of them so far, so I don't really know how long it's going to last, but we're going to make use of them while we do have them, and maybe this will push out a few extra KCs an hour, maybe one at best. It's not that much of a time save, but it is worth it, I think. Alright, I went ahead and got started on a Corp KC here for today. So after I dumped these two Ember Light specs, instead of going back to the POH, I'm going to left click teleport on my Desert Amulet 4 to Narda, pray at this Elidinus statuette, and then I have my games necklaces set to left click teleport to Corporeal Beast. So you can see how much quicker we got back to the Corp cave here, and we're able to land our specs, or not land our specs, one of two. TP out, rinse and repeat. So this is probably about, I don't know, if I had to guess, maybe a solid 10-second time save because of the POH loading animation. You have to run to your rejuvenation pool. Okay, I just POH TP'd out of habit. But yeah, you see, like, we TP in, it has to load in, we have to run to the pool, then we have to run around this wall to our jewelry box here. And while this is a zero cost method, it is slower than the other method that I will once again showcase, Narda teleport. Click the statue, click the games necklaces, and we're right back. Here we go, first KC of the session, perhaps some good luck to start off the day. Soul runes? Oh, and that was KC 350. That's pretty cool, I guess, because we pretty much started at around 300, so nice to see that we're already 50 KC in. Alright, while we're working on speccing down Corp once again in the background, let's switch over the POV to the normal account. I said this in the previous episode, the normal account really isn't directly related to our Ironman GIM progression here, but nevertheless, with the Corp grind being so slow, we gotta spice things up a little bit, and I have been sailing, or more specifically, salvaging in the background on my normal account in an attempt to re-max the account, because obviously when sailing came out, we lost our max cape. So we're currently at 96 sailing. I believe in the last episode we actually left off at 95. We were getting closer and closer to 96, and just the night before I started this session here, I managed to get to 96. So that's pretty cool. 3 more levels to go. Fair bit of EXP to go though, and I'm gaining about 35 to 40k EXP an hour here because I'm just doing the most laid back method possible. You can see here I'm just standing on my boat doing absolutely nothing. I got 2 crewmates on the salvage hooks here at the merchant shipwreck salvaging, and yeah, I don't even have a crystal extractor or anything like that because I'm not trying to click on here every minute. But yeah, we got that going for us in the background at all times. 351 Onyx bolt tips. We're gonna get rich, I guess, one way or another. So obviously there's gonna be some variation from KC to KC, but according to my Divine Super Combats, those things last 5 minutes per dose. I think I'm pacing to be about a minute or so quicker, maybe a minute and a half even, than if I was to use the POH method. So over a pretty extensive grind, those minutes will add up into hours, and then into tens of hours into extra KCs. So I guess it does make a big difference in that context. Another Onyx Bolts E-drop. Fantastic. We are absolutely printing. So in terms of the amount of games necklaces used, it seems like it varies quite a bit, right? Obviously, if your hammers hit on the first 2 teleports, then you only use 2 charges. So it's all RNG in that aspect. So right here, I missed a hammer, so I'm gonna have to TP out and TP back in for yet another hammer, and then hopefully it lands for an Emberlight spec to follow afterwards. But if it doesn't, I could end up using more charges, right? And so I think it goes anywhere between 2.5 games necklaces to even up to like 4 if you're super unlucky. So let's see if our Emberlight spec lands here. Very nice. So I suppose that's not too bad. It doesn't take terribly long to make these games necklaces. I mean, you do have to go out of your way to make them. I don't really have use for games necklaces other than to do Corp Beast. So yeah, it's really out the way, but I imagine it's gotta be worth it. Besides, it's not like I'm in short supply of gold bars or sapphires or anything like that. I have an absolute metric ton of those sitting in the bank. So far in this session, we've gotten a couple of Onyx Bolts E drops already. It's pretty nice in terms of GP, although don't get fooled. I mean, it may be a 1.5 mil GP drop, but each bolt in itself is only worth like a 9k alch, so it's a lot of processing to get your GP's worth in that regard. Anyways, I believe the same drop rate as the Onyx Bolts is actually the Cannonballs, which might actually be a better drop for us personally. I think some people do use a cannon here at Corp just to speed up KCs marginally. I don't know how much of a difference it makes. I've also heard that a cannon is actually not that great here because, well, a lot of the times your cannon's not even going to hit Corp, and when it does, I believe it's reduced damage due to the whole Corp Bane mechanic, which is exactly why we're using a Noxious Halberd right now. For what it's worth though, I do think you profit cannonballs even if you do use them here. And speaking of the cannon, in the beginning of my grind, I did put down a cannon base in the room just to let people know I was here, but I don't think that's really needed anymore, and it's actually still sitting in my inventory just because it's been in my inventory setup at the bank. But I definitely don't need it anymore. There is a torch that's lit up outside, and when other Ironmen try to come in, even if they don't look at the ancient brazier, I believe if they click on the passage here, they get a warning. So unless someone is very intentionally trying to grief me, someone isn't going to accidentally rag the KZ, which is good. Alright, small correction on the Cannonball versus Onyx Bolts drop. I'm going to throw up the drop table chart here. And actually, Onyx Bolts are a 1 in 25.6, while Steel Cannonballs are a 1 in 30.12. So they're kind of close in drop rate, but definitely not the same. Within the OSRS community, and more specifically the endgame Ironman player base that are doing the Corp grind, there have been conversations about whether or not Corp should receive a rework. Now, what kind of rework could possibly be done at Nex? Well, think about the likes of Nex or any of the wilderness bosses that are in the multi-area, like Vedion. What are the other ones? Ardio's the single boss. Callisto is what it's called. Okay, my mind blanked there for a second. But yeah, the wilderness bosses, as well as Nex, where it's a boss that Ironmen can actually do together with mains and other irons alike, and there's a damage contribution and MVP system. Now, as far as I know, at this point in time, Jagex has never even once stated any mention of a Corp rework, so I don't know. It feels like it's pretty unlikely, and this might just be one of the pieces of content that is just going to be, what's the saying, like a reflection of its time or something like that. I probably just butchered that saying, but you know, you get the gist of it, right? A product of its time or something. Yeah. Well, I suppose on the off chance that Jagex does implement some kind of rework, I will say, you know, the time between me uploading this video and me saying these words that are coming out of my mouth right now is going to be a pretty big gap. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm just going to sound incredibly stupid. Corp has been through a rework, but in real time right now, I'm thinking, yeah, probably not. You know, it's been quite a while now. Corp has been in the game since who knows how long, and they've gone through reworks at other places, namely Fasani's Nightmare, which is our previous grind, and we're going to return there later, but that's another story. Yeah, they've done reworks at other locations, and there's been no mention of any possible rework at Corp. So, I won't lie, there was a time where I kind of just held off on the Corp grind thinking there might be potential for a rework, but I'm just going to go ahead and grind out Corp now, you know? Make the most of it. And I guess if one day they do change it, they change it, whatever. But you know what? It's not like I have much else going for me right now in terms of this account. For me, whether there is a rework or not, I'm going to be at Corp until I get the Elysian Spirit Shield, or if I simply no longer want to do Corp, which I imagine will probably happen at some point. We'll probably be taking breaks here and there. We're not going to be doing thousands of a Corp in one go. That's just a crazy, crazy task to take under. But do let me know what your opinion of Corp is and whether or not a rework should be done on this boss. We are up to 360 KC now, and according to my loot tracker here, which for some reason is missing out on 2 KC, I guess it's possible to get a nothing drop here at Corp. That must have happened twice. Or something else, I don't know. But in 358 KC tracked on the loot tracker, we've received 2,450 Onyx bolts. Well, that's actually worth a whopping 22 mil in high alchs. So I guess if I do bother to process those, I'll be rich. I think I have dumped some of those in the Rogue's Den general store for GP before, but I think the bulk of it's still sitting in my bank somewhere. So if one day we do bother with it, and by the end of this Corp grind, I guess we should be filthy rich. Alright, by now this might be a running meme in the series. Will I ever get 99 thieving on 416 hero or 50 defense account? It's been literal months of on and off. Can I bother thieving in the background? Can I not, you know? Do I get lazy? How much am I really logging in here? Am I going to get sidetracked with some grind that requires all my focus and I can't even have this on in the background? Well, I'm going to try once again. We're 96 thieving, 510k EXP away from 97. I think we should be able to make decent progress here as long as we're on the Corp grind. The Corp grind is nice and chill, so we should be able to make good progress here. Now, right now, I actually am triple logging. I showed you guys earlier, I'm working on sailing on the normal account, which is incredibly AFK, honestly. I'll just check back in every 25 minutes on that account. And then that way I can put most of my attention on Corp, and then every minute or so I'll glance over at 416 hero here, where I might just have to dip out of each house at Varlamore or whatever, you know, as long as I'm thieving, it's all good. But yeah, we'll see how long we keep this up for. If anything, if it becomes too much, I might just opt out of this, wait until I hit 99 sailing, and then work on this again. We'll see what happens though, but right now I'm going to try this triple log, playing 3 accounts at once type thing. We'll see if we can keep this up. Oops, well, as I was getting settled in on 416 hero, I spec'd Corp 24 times with the Emberlight. Wow, okay. In the middle of specking down Corp, we got a sandwich lady random chocolate bar. I was hoping it'd be a baguette. So back on 416 hero, not only are we trying to work on the thieving levels to 99, but we're also trying to do an occasional birdhouse run. We're currently 84 hunter, and if you didn't know, fun fact, on Wait For It, we got 99 hunter exclusively through birdhouses. Well, outside of quest EXP, but I didn't hunt any black chins or any chins. I didn't hunt anything until 99 hunter. Last KC was 369. Got ourselves some antidotes, which is pretty nice actually. I haven't done Zora in a long time, and antidotes are always good because that's what you turn into anti-venoms, anti-venom plus, extended super, you know, it's a whole rabbit hole. But basically antidote pluses are the base potion you need, and it's always nice to get. You're not going to make those, you're just going to get them from Zora and I guess Corp Beast. Well, I think you can make those, but it's a whole tedious process that's just not worth doing. Just like Guthix Rest, although I actually made some Guthix Rest not that long ago, and those things aren't too bad, but I guess a better example is Sandfuse Serums. Those things are so tedious to make, you're definitely not going to want to make those as an Ironman. Instead, if you find yourself in a position where you need Sandfuse, you're better off just stinging at Phasanis using Relisum bombs and getting Sandfuse there. Or I believe Calvarion and probably some other bosses drop Sandfuse as well. Okay, in my little ramble about antidotes and Sandfuse serums there, I definitely intended to record this screen of me doing Corp, but I guess when we're playing 3 accounts at once and we're trying to pick up on any happenings between each of the 3 accounts, I may occasionally end up recording the wrong POV, but my point still stands. Another Onyx Bolts E-drop. Definitely received more of these than the Cannonballs. Oop. KC 373, that is our 8th Spirit Shield, I believe. Let's open up the collection log. Yep, that's our 8th one. Honestly, here at Varlamore Thieving, I keep getting kicked out of the houses because the homeowners come back and I'm just not paying enough attention. I'm not too upset about it though. I think all it does is it loses me some of the valuables that I stole in the first place, so it's not too big of a deal. I don't know what the conversion rate is. As you can see in my inventory, I have a stack of 123,000 valuables that I've yet to trade into that one NPC standing next to the bank. I'm not too concerned with that. Like I said though, I'm just here for the EXP, and it doesn't seem like I lose all that much anyways. Oh no, it's falling apart. I was looking at the thieving and then I glanced back over. Looks like I forgot to kill the core and I was just sitting on it and I got deleted. I actually looked back just in time to see the character animation of me like bowing down or kneeling down on the ground, so that was unfortunate. Please tell me I have some house tabs. I do. Alright, let's get back in there. Oh my, I just teleported to the wrong location. It's really falling apart. Where's this POH at? Hasidius? Okay, let me run north. Basically, I took out a house tab just now, and I have left click set to teleport group, and then I just hold the 1 key so that 416 hero can access, wait for its maxed POH. Because, well, 416 hero's POH is just completely empty. Now, obviously, I had my max cape on me and I lost that, and I think my construction cape is in the POH, so yeah, foolish mistake by me there. Let me grab another house tab real quick, or 2. And then use it. No, just break it. Can't remember the last time I used house tabs. We're gonna grab our stuff here, and I think I'm safe to resume this KC. I might just need a BGS spec the boss a few more times again, because it may have regenerated. Okay, let's get our gear back on. Yeah, you can see the core still bouncing around. Let's try to get rid of it. I've actually been pretty good about not dying here at Corp. I've been getting kicked out of the houses a lot at Varlamore Thieving, but all my attention has been here. Okay, we're already super combated. Yeah, let's just BGS a few more times for good measure, because we were gone for quite a bit. And I think it did regen a good bit of health, but I think we should be okay. Alright, we're settled in again. Okay, I was hoping we'd be rewarded for our troubles. Although I guess maybe we shouldn't be rewarded for, you know, not paying attention. But 70 raw sharks. Okay, I guess I'll be taking that. Let's get out of here and then sort our inventory out. 384 KC, another spirit shield. Let's get out of here real quick and then let's take a look at the collection log. That is going to be our 9th spirit shield. And right after the spirit shield, Onyx Bolts. It's actually a brand new day now, and we might be starting off pretty strong here with these drops. That's pretty cool. Speaking of it being a new day, I really should have started out the game session today making more games necklaces. Because, well, I'm checking my bank, and I only have about 10 or 12, so that's only going to last, I don't know, a few more KCs. And then we're going to have to take a break and make some more games necklaces. I think I do have some sapphire necklaces sitting in the bank, so all I have to do is enchant them. But in general, I do have to make more. When you do Varlamore Thieving, you get these stackable valuables that you can trade into a PC for some extra GP later. Or actually whenever, but I've just chosen to just stack a whole bunch. But what you also get is jewelry. You get bonus EXP and jewelry on occasion, and one of those pieces of jewelry, there's a lot of variation, but one of them, very conveniently for us, is actually sapphire necklaces. We have over 100 of those sitting in our bank on 416 Hero right now, so I'm going to go ahead and chuck those in the group storage so that my main account or my maxed account can make use of them for Corp Beast. So previously I debated whether or not making games necklaces were worth it because of the time investment you need just to make these. Now obviously the enchanting process isn't that bad, especially if you're willing to actually manually click on them for a sped up process, because this is what happens when you don't manually click. So this is the pace where we're manually clicking each and every single sapphire necklace. But then when we let it auto cast, I think it becomes like 7 tick or something very, very slow like that. You can see here it is much, much slower. So very fortunately for us, we actually already had some sapphire necklaces sitting in the bank. On top of that, we had some sapphire necklaces from Varlamore Thieving over on 416 Hero. So right now I'm going through about 200 sapphire necklaces that we already have. But what about if we didn't have those and we had to spend the time to make these sapphire necklaces as well? That's definitely the part that takes the longest out of this whole entire process. And when I'm doing that and not doing Corp, is it worth it? I don't know. Apparently yes, but I'm not sure I'm entirely convinced. Wow, KC391, I believe that is our 10th Spirit Shield. Indeed it is. We're racking it up. Let me check what the drop rate on the Spirit Shields are. Obviously, once we have more than 3, we don't really... Well, once we have 3, I should say. More than 3 doesn't really matter, but I guess it's pretty nice to see. The Spirit Shield is a 1 in 64 drop, so I suppose we're also lucky in that regard. Checking in on the Normie account, we just hit 97 sailing not too long ago, but we are already 4% in. Salvaging is just so easy to do. I ended up playing some other games. I was playing the For Honor game, if anybody's familiar with that, and it's just much easier to always be salvaging to train my sailing than to be always doing Corp, right? So yeah, we're advancing at Corp, but we're definitely progressing with the sailing EXP more so than anything else at this point in time. Another session, another Onyx Bolt E-drop. We just reached another little KC milestone, KC 400. We get 24 watermelon seeds. Checking in with 416 Hero here. As you know, we've been working on Varlamore Thieving, and the nice thing about playing on 3 accounts at once is that the EXP and the gains are just always coming in. So with that being said, we're actually on the brink of hitting 97 sailing. Thieving. We hit 97 sailing just last night on the Normie account, which is the 3rd account we've been training in the background. But over here on 416 Hero, our 50 defense account, we are just moments away from 97 sailing. Couple more EXP drops from these chests right here, or if we can get a bonus chest real quick. Oh, there we go. This should put us to 97. There we have it. That actually doesn't unlock anything, but it does get us to 1850 total. Okay, that's pretty good considering our account restrictions. And I mean, sailing kind of makes it slightly easier to get these days, but you know, we'll take it. Playing 3 accounts at once and just multi-logging in general is kind of a full circle moment for me when it comes to old school RuneScape anyways. Obviously, way back when, before old school, when it was just RuneScape in itself, you were restricted to only playing 1 account at a time. For some reason, you know, that was just a thing. But these days, obviously, that's not the case anymore. Plenty of people play multiple accounts at once, often a normal account and an Ironman. And for me right now, I'm obviously logged on to 3, but to be fair, I'm only logged on to the 3rd one just to get 99 sailing and getting max cape back on an account. And through the salvaging method, it is incredibly AFK. Honestly, it feels like I'm not even actually playing on that account. In fact, as I'm speaking right now, I'm looking at Corp, obviously, and I have the thieving going on just below it. And then I'm not even looking at the sailing tab. Like, I just alt tab back into that in about 15-20 minutes or so. But anyways, I say it's a full circle moment because when I first hopped on to old school RuneScape and learned that you could play multiple accounts at once now, well, I took full advantage of that. And back then, bonds were cheap. They were like 5 mil each. So you could do just about any low intensity AFK money making method and it would still be worthwhile as long as you put in the hours. And you know, if you were going to play that much anyways, then you might as well have had an alt going on the side. But as bond prices increased and I started doing more intense activities on one singular account, like raiding and whatnot, I started getting lazy and didn't really want to multi-log. And then came the Dolo Gim dynamic, right? And then I did that for a while, and then I got tired of logging on 2 accounts at once, and then I focused here on this account here, got Radiant, got Grandmaster, you know, do a whole lot of raiding and all that. But here at Corp, you know, we're just stabbing away. So it's nice to have something else going on in the background as well. Wow, another Spirit Shield. KC404, Ellie, not found, but Spirit Shields are found. Let's take a look at the collection log here. That is our 11th one. And another one. I said the Onyx Bolt drops aren't as great of a drop as you might think they are, but it's still satisfying to see that loot beam on the ground at least, so we got that going for us on this long grind. Okay, the bolts is supposed to be a 1 in 25 roughly. I definitely haven't even killed 25 today, but we've gotten like 3 of these drops. Can't complain, I guess, but it's just surprising. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea what's going on, but we are absolutely printing today. The day of good drops just continues. Another Spirit Shield. Off the top of my head, I believe that's the 12th one. Let's just take a look at the collection log. Corporeal Beast, I am blind. There we go, 12th one, KC 416. Hey. With all the Spirit Shield and Onyx Bolt drops, I actually haven't seen this drop in a while. 30 tuna potatoes. We don't really have use for tuna potatoes. I think they heal for 22, and we have plenty of food sitting in the bank that heals for that and more, actually, such as the marlins. And on top of that, it's 30 individual tuna potatoes. It's not even noted, so, I mean, I'll pick up what I can right there, and I'll just put that away. It's not that rare of a drop, so it's a bit surprising that it has taken this long to see it. But hey, we have it now. Alright, it's time for a little check-in on the sailing account going for 99. We're actually about to get 6 hour logged in 4 minutes, but let me tell you, you know, like when I said this was AFK, I literally, you know, whenever I turn on my computer, I log in, I get this going, and then I just don't pay any attention to it. But we got ourselves another Dragon Cannon Barrel. That's right, another one. Before I started recording this grind, I already picked up 2 Dragon Cannon Barrels in the past. If I look over at the loot logger right now, I'm at 40,000, just under 41,000 opulent salvage sorted. So I'm definitely on rate for 2, but not 3. I think these things are like 1 in 20,000. So that's pretty cool to get a good bit of GP, although I haven't sold any of them yet. And the longer I wait, the price is probably just going to go down. Unfortunately, though, I don't have much use for this on the normal account because, well, I just don't plan on really playing it all that much, other than to get it back to max skill level, total level. Not to worry though, on wait for it, I actually also have 2 Dragon Cannon Barrels on that account, so I'm lucky in that aspect. Let's quickly switch the POV over because while I was yapping away talking about the Dragon Cannon Barrel, I got more Onyx Bolts over here, KC 429. We're racking the KC up. I mean, you know, usually when I say something like we're racking the KC up, I'm like 50 KC, 100 KC deep. But with Corp, you know, we've done, I think logging in today, I've done over 30. So that's quite a bit of Corp, especially since I'm still doing the spec down method at this point in time. While we're on the topic of how we're doing Corp, still doing the spec down method, which is by far the slowest but the oldest and traditional way to do Corp, I do plan on speeding things up, switching things up, and bringing 416 Hero along to fully take advantage of the fact that I'm a Dolo Gim. But first, I want to get to 99 thieving on that account because that was a goal I set out many months ago, maybe even over half a year ago, if not more. And yeah, you know, now that I'm on the account, I want to get that out the way and then bring it on over. Now, when it comes to doing Corp with 2 accounts at once, first I have to figure out the actual strategy to that. Do I continue speccing it down like I do and then just bring 416 Hero at the end to, you know, do some extra DPS, kind of like an overpowered Thrall? Or what do I do there? I'm actually not too sure. I'm also somewhat limited on items that I can use. For example, I only have the 1 BGS across both accounts. I never got more than 1 because, well, I went like over 4 times dry just for the Bandos hilt. So I definitely left the Bandos as soon as I could. And let's not forget, when it comes to 416 Hero, it is currently a stat restricted account. So while I don't have a second Noxious Halberd, even if I did, I wouldn't be able to use it because putting it on stab is shared EXP, and at this point in time, I don't want to do that. Well, that's the reason why I haven't brought 416 Hero along just yet, because of the 99 thieving and the stat restrictions. Those are things I have to think about and work on at this point in time, and that's why I haven't brought in 416 Hero right away. But in the meantime, we can still progress on Corp KC, and we can definitely still progress on thieving EXP, and then when the time comes to hit 99 thieving, we will consider all of our options. With all that being said, it's actually pretty late into the night now, 2 AM, so let's wrap things up for this video. Working on this final KC, I don't even know what KC we're on, 433, okay. We've gotten a lot of Onyx Bolt tips, a lot of Spirit Shields, and for some reason, I very much remember one singular tuna potato drop today, so we have those going for us. Let's see what we can get to close it out. Okay, I probably could have got away with not sipping the prayer potion there, but hey, it is what it is. And what are we getting? Runite bolts. Not quite as good as the other bolts drop.